Hi there, today's video is about my piercings, which I have 13 piercing holes but 12 earrings in. I wanted to talk about them because I thought it could be interesting and helpful to share. If you want to get some, then perhaps hearing the advice and feedback from someone who does have so many could give you a bit of a light of what to expect. There's roughly a year between me getting every piercing I've had, roughly 1 to 2. Typically I feel that the lobe piercings are a lot less painful because this ear is a lot flabbier, it's easier to fold, it's squishy, it's just fatty and, you know, it's not really dense. Upper ear part is, you know, the cartilage is a lot thicker. So from my understanding, that's why your ears hurt a lot more and take a longer time to heal when you're pierced further up. Minimum 6 months, if not 12, is the healing time. I have my first, my second, my third. This blue one is my Helix. This is also a Helix, but it's called an upper. This is the Rook. Firsts, seconds, Conch, industrial, and forward Helix. And then I have my belly button piercing. This is my belly button piercing. Early high school, when I got my firsts done, took a lot of convincing. Went and got them with my mum. When I got them done, I didn't get both of them done at the same time. A woman did a gun separately on, like, the same gun on both ears, and when she did it, I don't know what happened, but the gun got stuck and the backings were not properly onto the earring. For my first and my seconds, I've had the same style of earring, which I believe is like a stainless steel, very simple design earring. Now this is not that, but I'm showing it to you because typically as you go on, you'll find a lot of earrings are just a straight bar. There's no rivet or anything, they're just metal. They're just flat. When you get ears pierced, your ears swell up, so you're not going to be able to put, and you shouldn't be putting, your backing onto the full length of the earring straight away. Later on you can. There is the possibility that your backing could fall off of that first earring, but the little groove there is the first stopper. I have piercings that have seconds, I just couldn't find any right this second because I have a lot of earrings. The reason for that is as your ear swells up, it'll hit that, but it gives it room to breathe, and as your ear heals later on, once it's completely healed, you can put the backing further on. Piercings hurt. I reckon if you got your ears pierced, not your lobes first, and then compared it later on, you can probably tell the difference, but your initial piercing always hurts. It's a sting, you've paid someone to stab you, it can't not. The good thing about lobe piercings though is like it's such a squishy piece of your skin. I've pierced people's ears before and it's really as terrifying to give the piercing as to receive it, I reckon. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna stuff this up. But it's a very quick process. I remember my ears, I think they bled when I first got them done after a while. Which can happen. I got my seconds done many years later after convincing my mom that it was okay for me to do that and I was of age. I'm pretty sure she forgot that she said yes, but she said yes once and that was all I needed to hear. I started a job, but I was worried that this would get ripped out of my ear, this industrial, so I waited quite a while and instead I got this. This is the Helix. I just always like the look of this. I always thought it was really nifty. It pinched, and I also got a plastic earring put in it. Whilst doing childcare, I didn't want the kids to see it and want to take it out, which is really kind of ironic because I got tackled by 6 kids when I was younger, and as they fell over the front of me, they were just playing, they ended up ripping out my earring, so there was blood everywhere. Like, well, there goes that. To be honest, it kind of looked a bit like a pimple, embarrassingly, because the front jewel of it was red and the rest of it was clear, so I was like, what's on your ear? So now, typically, I will put a jewel in here or a jewel in here or a hoop. The reason for the hoop is because I find them so much easier to maintain and clean. Ears can be kind of gross. You're not really supposed to do all that much with them, but when you have piercings, it's really important you do because they can really stink, and that's just one of the things you have to accept. I wash mine every night in the shower. I have a dedicated toothbrush for that, especially my awkward little tiny ones. But hoops, they're just a universal tiny hoop that you just spin around. You can get them in various sizes. I think smaller looks better because it's less hanging on your ear. Yeah, I like this. It's a bit more seen, so I like to play around with colors for this one. Then I got my industrial piercing and my upper Helix. Don't do that! This girl had never done an industrial before and I was actually kind of mad. She did it fine, but her instructor did say to stop 3 times before she actually did because she didn't have it lined up properly, and if that ain't one way to give you a heart attack, I don't know what is. She did the industrial first and it was the most painful piercing. I think on par with my belly button. I don't know which was worse. They're probably at the same spot. I love my industrial piercing so much. I clean it like every 2 days. I take it out. It's really easy to take in and out. I do have a keloid scar in there, up there, but you can't see it. I know that it's there because I can feel it. It's not massive, but as a defense mechanism, I believe your skin will charge the spot of it being ruptured and try and fix that issue. So you can get a keloid scar from a reaction of that. It can also be related to the metal used, I think, because it's in my ear. I actually didn't notice that until a few years ago, and I mean, it doesn't matter, it's there and it would have gone away by now if it was going to. Yeah, so I was worried children would shove their finger in this tiny hole and pull my piercing out when I was younger, so I waited, because it's the same ear being pierced twice, which is just awful. I thought I was going to throw up or pass out. Like, it was such excruciating pain. And then you've got this really freaking massive bar going through it. Like, it is bigger than your standard earring, it's just thicker. When you get piercings, it does warp a bit of the shape of your ear. I noticed that. So because I've got this band here, like this bar, it's obviously stretching this area and it flattens it out a bit. So this whole area is more exposed. Whereas this one, not so much. It's a minor detail, but I'm aware of it. On the same day, I got my upper helix, and just because I'd had, you know, my industrial just done, it was just a lot of trauma for my ear. It was bloody awful. I couldn't sleep. You cannot sleep. The way you sleep when you get piercings is like this, or this, or this, for the rest of your life. Industrial piercing took me roughly 1.5 years to heal. It takes forever. If it hasn't healed by 2 years, I'm not surprised, and you're lucky if it heals in 1 year. Like, tell me your secrets. So, with the industrial piercing, you're recommended to not ever take the piercing out. So, in light of that knowledge, I took my piercing out. I bought these 2 little half industrial earring pieces. So it looks like that. It's flat and then it's got a ball. The reason I did this is because it was becoming unbearable to sleep with a bar in my ear. I just couldn't do it. It was too painful. I kept waking up in my sleep all the time, and I was like, how am I gonna do this? These things are great, and it's my ear. I'm gonna take care of it how it best suits me, and I found them awesome. These little guys are great because they mimic that of your industrial earring, and they just basically help the process heal better, because I wasn't sure I could stand sleeping on my industrial piercing for the whole of the time. I didn't think it was really possible, and they helped. They didn't warp my ear in a different direction. I made sure that I swapped it up between the both of them really regularly, and they helped a lot. I think if you left them in all the time, they probably wouldn't have the best result. And I got my belly button done. I hadn't had any sugar that day. Anyway, so I fainted after I got it done. I'm really happy with my belly button piercing. This is it just sitting on its own. It is a little bit to the side, and I do push it back and have a great time with it, but like on its own, it will just end up sitting to the side like that. Which is not a big deal by any means, it doesn't matter. But I remember the guy saying to me, if you're not happy with the placement of this, tell me, because it's going to be on you forever. I did say something to him, but when I was younger I wasn't the most confident, and I probably should have said, look, it's not as vertical as I want it. Granted, if someone's piercing you, I feel like they should know, but it's not wrong or bad or anything. I just aware that it sits slightly a little bit off. I wanted the top of my piercing to sit in the hole of my belly button, not be above. If you're gonna get yours done, and he knew what to do, I'm pretty sure. I think he said that to me, which I didn't need a comment on it, but make sure you make that clear. Because I know people have got it done, or they've got like a navel piercing which isn't even in your belly button, it's like above the skin, and they're really disappointed. So I would definitely make sure you know what you're getting when you're getting it done. It really hurt. I did not relax at all when I got it done, and he was like, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. And when he put the needle in, I felt like it was gonna go all the way up to my throat. And I know it wasn't, but it just seemed to go on forever. Like, the amount of time it seemed to take for the needle to go through, I just thought, oh my gosh, like, how far in are you going? But it's a deeper, thicker piercing. They clamp your stomach. And I just remembered not breathing very well. And he was like, you know, you gotta breathe properly, breathe out. And somehow, like, I must have tensed my stomach and I felt like all of my stomach skin was like shooting up to kind of, you know, reject him and get him away from me. I knew what I was getting done, but I was like, shit, this hurts. When I got my conch done, this is that one, I was in a really shitty mood, actually. In the situation I was annoyed. So I was focusing on that rather than the piercing. It did hurt, it stung, it was painful, and it was a pretty thick bit of skin. It took longer to go through than I expected it to. So the hole is right in there, and I always love the look of this, that it's like squishing your ear together. I just thought that was really unique, very statement. Having a good time. It does tighten your ear a bit more. As you can see over here, there's more of a gap. Over here, it's, you know, it's squished it in. I rarely, if ever, actually put earrings in that spot because it's really uncomfortable having a backing. I'm so much used to having a hoop. When I go to sleep, I will just tug it a bit or push it up, because if any piercing gives me grief when I'm sleeping, it's this one. The conch gives me a little bit of grief sometimes when I'm sleeping, but I'm aware of that. I don't remember how long it took for me to have that one heal, but I mean, it's gonna say like a rough 12 months for most all of them. It's not recommended to get piercings done when you're emotionally unstable. I felt a little bit removed. That wasn't great when I got my conch done. It really hurt, and I feel like the pain of having it done hit me afterwards rather than in the time. I don't know, it felt a bit like, yuck, I can feel this going in my ear. Be emotionally ready when you're going to get a piercing done. I have had 2 piercings that I took out, one of them being the Daith. That part right there, I got that pierced, but I got the inner part. I really like the idea of having a piercing that came out in a circle type position where you couldn't really see where it began. When I clean my ear, even though my Daith wasn't in there for a very long time, I can still feel a bit of a groove in the skin, which I'm pretty sure is the hole made by the needle in the first place. Unfortunately, I had to take it out because I got a keloid scar, which is what I have up here. Like very shortly after I got it done, it's just a scar, and it was really squishy and kind of stupid for me to get, to be honest. My ears get infected very easily. This ear has a habit of just blocking on its own. When I wake up, sometimes it's blocked. It doesn't make any sense for someone who gets ear infections as like commonly as I can to get a piercing that goes into a freaking canal. So don't do that. So yeah, I kept it for a bit, just didn't work. So I took it out, and yeah, maybe it might have healed up by the end of it, but it would have given me so many issues in the future. I also had the flat piercing. Next part is a bit confusing. If you have a gut feeling that one piercing is what you want, but you're tossing up between 2 and you're not so sure, just follow your gut. I wish I did. I ended up getting the flat, and I really wish I just got the 3rd at that time. I felt really nervous, and I tried to, you know, ignore that or think that it was just normal, but I just wasn't that set on the flat mentally, and I really should have gone with the 3rd. Relatively quick and painless, actually. Every piercing that I've wanted, I've, I don't know, kind of seen its singular almost functionality to it. The position of it not being completely ridiculous, or, you know, which earrings I'm going to wear with it in the future, not like how am I going to make this work. I really felt drawn to them. This one I did feel drawn to, but I missed having my flat bit of skin on either side of my ear, which is like completely opposite to getting your flat done. It really doesn't make any sense. It's really difficult to put in earrings into the flat. You can't twist your ear the whole way around properly. Like it's not a very simple swap over. This poor ear has had a lot done to it. The scar has faded, not as much as I would have liked. It will obviously fade over time, whatever, but it's a bit of a lesson learned. The Rook. The Rookie Chookie. This is the Rook. It's a very cute little piercing. It goes, my anatomy is the worst for this piercing, I swear on my life. When I got this, I got it done with a bar, and you could barely see it. After a while, I think it healed, or it didn't quite heal, and I just swapped it to this little guy. You're not really meant to do that, but I know that I'm never going to put anything but a hoop in here, so it didn't matter to me that I could warp the shape. That's a large reason why people say to not take your earrings out until they've healed, because if you do it whilst they're still healing, obviously you warp the shape. But I know me. I know what I'm going to put in there and what I'm not. It is a cute little piercing. I love how unique it is and small. I feel like it couldn't be closer to my head. If any of my piercings were to be taken out, it would be this one because it is in such an awkward spot and it's kind of hard to clean. I really have to shove my nail up the inside of my ear to clean it out properly on a very regular basis. It is the piercing which gets disgusting most often, so I have no intention really of removing it anytime soon. Tighter, smaller spaces just aren't very logical for piercings for the long term, I don't think. So this guy is my forward helix. I always think that it's loose. It's quite a cute piercing, but I have only been able to change it once in my life. It took me like an hour. It is so awkward to get your fingers into, get the piercing into. It's in a really tight spot. It's just hard to screw things onto it. It's just small. It's really sweet and cute, and I never intend to put any other piercing into it. I thought I would when I got it done, but I won't. Got my hair caught in it all the time when I first got it done. If I was going to get rid of one, that would be the first to go, and then if I was going to get rid of another one, that would be it as well. I'm not going to, but sometimes I think, God, my life would be easier if this wasn't here. I start rambling here a bit too much, so I'm just going to condense it. When you get your ears pierced, you will be offered, or you should be offered, some kind of a spray for your ears. I make my own. It's a lot cheaper, and I like to know what's going onto my ear. Boiled water, salt, tea tree oil, and aloe vera. Yes, those are the 4 things I put onto my ear. Aloe vera is not recommended because it can dry up your ear. However, I think aloe vera is good for most anything. I have no issues with my ear drying up a bit. When I go in the shower, it will eventually take the flakes off, and I just like knowing I'm doing that little bit extra. I can't remember the last time I used a spray on my ears. As I've gotten older, I just have tended to not bother with it. Initially, when you get these things done, you're not used to having a piercing, and I think your body probably needs that extra help. But as the years have gone along, I definitely haven't needed to, or I don't think I have. What I do with my piercings now is wash them with hot water in the shower and add a bit of soap. I do like to desensitize my ears a little bit. Eventually, you are going to hit them with your hat or your jacket or whatever else. It's going to happen. But I've found that my ears are pretty good now, so as my ear begins to heal and not feel pain so much anymore, I like to wriggle that area a little bit extra just to get it used to the feeling of being knocked. If you don't, I've found it really, really hurts a lot more than I think it should later on. I like to move my earring back and forth within my ear to make sure that I'm cleaning all of the metal and the hole to my ear. That is my preference on doing it though. With any of my helix piercings, I prefer to go for internally threaded, which is this, which literally means just that. The backing has the thread on the inside and the front of it is where the thread is. I don't think they should be further traumatized than they already have been. Like, you've already stabbed them once, and I think that it creates micro cuts on the inside of your ear. I also just find these easier to apply, and you can interchange between the piercing heads a lot more. Every time I put any kind of stud into my helixes, I always use pliers to tighten them, because I've had them fall out on me before and I really don't want to run the risk. I'm really, really, really afraid of my piercings falling out all the time. Which is partly why I like to wear hoops as well. They're just kind of statement and easy, and I can sleep on them a lot better. I actually find studs more annoying and painful to sleep on now because my ears are so used to wearing circular earrings. The circle, it just tends to fold. I hope this video was helpful.